Hey everyone, welcome to our first progress update for February's project. We'll walk you through the progress we've made so far. In case you missed the intro video and want to know what this project is about, check out the linked playlist in the description below.
Of course, we start things off with a game document. Here, we write down all our ideas and tools we plan to use in the project. Usually when we decide what game to make, we already have some gameplay mechanics thought out. After that, we write down more ideas for the project to make the game richer. When we have some basic ideas written down, we start creating basic assets to see if our ideas work. For starters, we need to experiment with a few screen dimensions. For this we use Figma. Figma is a free UI tool that you can use with your browser or download like an app. As you can see, we have some different screens with different sizes to help us decide the size of each object. The sprites in this file are from the game's key or die. They won't be in the final game, this is just for a quick visual representation of what we're going for. Now that we have the object sizes, we head over to Aseprite and set the grid. This allows us to be consistent with all our sprites. For now, here are some squares and rectangles in different colors. That's just so that the development side has something to work with.
The game itself will be built using Monogame. I've been eager to try this engine for years now since it powers some of my favorite games. But first I had to learn how to actually use it. I tend to hoard ebooks, and I have a relatively recent book called Monogame Mastery published by Apress in 2020. I bought it during a Black Friday sale a few years ago. The book unfortunately had some quality control issues and made following along with the examples needlessly difficult, so I quickly lost interest in the book and I found a Udemy course instead. I'm not normally a fan of Udemy, but because Monogame is so niche it's hard to find good tutorials. The course I watched was good nonetheless, and successfully taught me the basics of using the engine. So I spent a few days learning how to use the engine, and the next thing I quickly learned was that Monogame is unsupported on my M1 Mac. There is a workaround to get it running, but I didn't want to tamper with my main production device. So I fired up my gaming PC and I was ready to get started. The first thing I did was to import all the placeholder assets and to create basic game objects out of them. All the game objects just move down at a fixed speed, while the player can also move left and right. Then I made a level class. This class contained a list of all the rows in the level. Each row spawned with some trees on the left and the right side, with random offsets on each row. This gave the forest a more natural appearance. When a row of trees would scroll off the screen, it would get removed from the list, and a new row of trees would get added to the bottom. And voila, we now have a basic level, but it looks a bit empty. Next, I extended the row generator to toss in some rocks into the empty cells for the player to avoid. And finally, I added some ramps into the mix. When the player collides with a ramp, he enters a jumping state. While jumping, he avoids all obstacles until landing. There it is, the level looks a bit more interesting now. That's it for this week. It certainly doesn't look like much since we spent half the week learning new skills and had other commitments to tend to. Next week we'll be picking up the pace and adding some huge updates. So stay tuned if you want to see how things turn out. Thanks for watching.